Hello viewers, welcome to my channel Pharmacypedia. In the previous video, we discussed about the general introduction of pre-formulations, goals and objectives of pre-formulations, and what are the requirements for physical and chemical characterization. In this session, we are going to discuss about the physical characteristic property, that is about the amorphous and the crystalline structure of the drug substances. So what is the impact of the amorphous and the crystalline structure of the drug substances on the pre-formulation studies? So let us begin. So when we talk about the physical properties analysis of any drug substance, we need to undergo the pre-formulation studies of these factors. The first is the physical form, which can either be crystal or the amorphous form, or the particle size, or the shape, or the flow properties, or the solubility profiles, that is pKa, pH, and the partition coefficient, and the polymorphisms. So we are going to discuss them in detail about the crystal and the amorphous property evaluation of a drug substance. So let us first try to understand the outline of the physical principal areas of pre-formulation research. So when we talk about the principal areas of pre-formulation research, it is being divided into four parts. The first is the physicochemical characterization properties. Second is the bulk characterization. Third is the solubility analysis. And last one is the stability analysis. So my dear friends, try to understand when we initiate the pre-formulation study, we have to analyze it from four point of view. First is the general physicochemical property analysis, like the particle shape, size, organoleptic properties, in which is covered about the description, odor, or like taste, and the purity analysis. Then the second, the most important category is the bulk characterization, which includes the parameters like crystallinity and polymorphism, hygroscopicity, particle size analysis, etc. And third, very important part is the solubility analysis, which includes the various other parameter analysis such as the common ion effect, pH solubility profile, pKa analysis, etc. And the last is the stability analysis, which talks about the solution stability, solid state stability, and the bulk stability. So let us try to study them one by one. In this session, I am going to cover about the physical form, that is the crystalline and the amorphous nature of the drug substance. So when we talk about the crystalline and the amorphous nature, we need to understand two basic terms. First is the crystal habit and second is the internal structure. When we say about the crystal habit basically refers to the outer structure of the drug substance. It actually affects the bulk and the physicochemical properties, which ranges from flowability to chemical stability. So when we talk about any crystal habit is the actually simply the outer appearance of a crystal, whereas when we talk about the internal structure is the molecular arrangement within the solid. So when we take any drug substance, we look at from two perspectives. The first is the crystal habit, which actually reflects the outer structure, and third is the internal structure, that is the molecular arrangement within the solid. So I think that is clear. These two are very important: crystal habit and internal structure. They both determine the bulk properties of the drug substance. So you take any drug, for example penicillin, or you take any drugs example like diclofenac sodium. So you need to understand what is the crystal habit. It is existing in the amorphous form or it is existing in the crystalline form. So when it is in the crystalline form, what is the outer structure, the crystal habit, and what is the internal structure of the molecules or the arrangement in the solid? Because what happens is that it may happen that the drug substance may be appearing in more than one crystalline form. So it may be in octahedral shape or any other shape. So the crystal properties plays a very important in understanding the pre-formulation characteristics of any drug substance. So this is the graph which is actually depicting about the important properties. So simply when you take any chemical compound, it is being segregated into the habit, which is the outer structure of the drug substance, which can be viewed, and second is the internal structure refers to the alignment inside the drug substance, which is further divided into crystalline and the amorphous form. So when we say the crystalline form, it simply means that the molecule arrangement follows a particular pattern. It is a decided, established, well marked, structured pattern which is being followed in the internal structure of any drug substance throughout the drug substance. And when we say the amorphous, it means that there is no arrangement, structured arrangement. The molecules are scattered here and there, and the structure is not any in any form. It is basically the unstructured, whereas the crystalline is a structured form whereby the molecules are actually set up in a particular pattern which is being followed throughout the drug substance. So these crystalline structures are then further classified into categories like polymorphs and molecular adducts. Molecular adducts basically refers to the when you have any other solvent which is being entrapped in the drug substance. For example, non-stoichiometric or the stoichiometric. Stoichiometric basically refers to the hydrated forms. It means the actually the substance is having water molecules attached to it. So that kind of the substance will not be that much soluble because it is already having water molecule attached to it. Whereas the non-stoichiometric substances refers to the other like inclusion complexes like channels, layers, cages, clathrates, which we are going to discuss further. So as of now, you must be clear about what chemical compound which is being segregated into crystal habit, outer structure, internal structure. Now internal structure, if it is in a structured form, if it follows a particular pattern, if the molecules are aligned in a beautiful way in a crystal lattice, it refers to the crystalline forms. If the molecules are scattered, they don't follow any structure in any structure pattern, it simply means it is having the amorphous forms. So let us try to understand the difference between the crystalline solids and amorphous solids. So as I have told earlier, crystalline solids have a characteristic geometrical shape. It follows the particular shapes. They have highly ordered three-dimensional arrangement of particles. They follows any shape. They are bounded by the planes or the faces. The planes of a crystal intersect at a particular angle. They have a sharp melting point and boiling point. So you have to keep in your mind these 5 things, that they follow a characteristic geometrical shape. They have highly ordered three-dimensional structure. They are bounded by planes or the faces. The planes of a crystal intersect at a particular angle, and they have a very sharp melting point or boiling point. Sharp melting point and boiling point means that they have a single melting point and a boiling point. So otherwise what happens in other substances, that it actually melts over a wide range of temperature. So for amorphous, how you are going to differentiate between both of them, let us try to understand the criteria for the amorphous solids. In these solids, the particles are randomly arranged in 3 dimensions. As I've told, they don't follow any structure, they don't have any geometrical shape. The molecules are randomly allocated. They don't have a sharp melting point. Why they don't have a sharp? Because they are quite unstable substances. They are actually prepared by the ways of like sudden cooling. So what happens is that the molecules are not aligned, so therefore they don't have any sharp or a single melting point. The melting point actually varies over a wide range of the temperature. They are quite unstable molecule and they achieve stability slowly. That is why the amorphous substances are not preferred for the drug, for the formulation of any dosage form. Why it is not? When you talk about the formulation of any dosage form, the primary criteria is that it should have a preferably crystalline structure. Why crystalline structure? Because amorphous forms are highly unstable. They have high energies and they try to achieve the stability by dissipating these energies. So once they are dissipating these energies, they attain the stable form. So if it happens during the dosage form development, it may happen that the molecule doesn't remain stable. Amorphous solids are formed due to sudden cooling of the liquids, like supercooled glasses. So since they are formed like due to the sudden cooling of the liquid, they don't have any single melting point. They can melt over a wide range of the temperature. One more thing which I would like to mention over here is that when we talk about the solids have generally higher solubilities. They are having better dissolution characteristics, which is required for in the formulation development. But since they are highly unstable, that is why they are not being preferred. So the first criteria for having a good formulation development is that the substance should have a preferably crystalline characteristics. But there are other parameters requirement like solubility, dissolution properties. For that you need to understand and then choose it out, because amorphous solids are highly unstable, they have high energies, and they try to achieve the stability by dissipating the energies, and therefore they are having high solubilities, they have the high dissolution properties. So when we talk about the crystals, they are characterized by the repetitious spacing of the constituent atoms or molecules in a three-dimensional array. In a three-dimensional array, or like it is structured, whereas the amorphous forms are atoms of molecules randomly placed as in liquids. So crystalline structure generally goes for the solid state, and the amorphous forms generally go for the liquid state, because liquids solid states are more stable as compared to the liquid state. So it needs to be understood here is that says amorphous substances are highly unstable, so crystalline substances are preferable in the formulation development. Moreover, amorphous forms are typically prepared by rapid precipitation, lyophilization, or rapid cooling methods. Therefore they are not that much stable, they try to achieve stability over prolonged period of the time. So many physicochemical properties, this you have to keep in mind, that many physicochemical properties vary with the internal structure of the solids. We need to understand that the crystalline and the amorphous form of the drug substance actually impacts its melting point, density, hardness, crystal shape, optical properties, and vapor pressures. So you have to keep these parameters in mind while you actually try to understand whether the drug substance is a crystalline or amorphous form. Now you are clear that crystalline form is preferred, but amorphous forms have better solubility and they have better dissolution criteria. The physical chemical properties which are being impacted by the crystalline or the amorphous forms are melting point, density, hardness, crystal shape, optical properties, and vapor pressure. These are the different habits of a crystal. The crystals can be either like massive structure, equant, or like platy structure, needles, bladed, tabular, or prismatic. It can have any sort of the crystal, but they do follow a regular repetitive pattern. When we talk about the analytical characterization of the solid forms, of the crystalline forms, we can follow either of these methods. The first is the microscopy, which actually requires the sample amount to be minimum of 1 milligram, or the fusion methods, or like DSC, differential scanning calorimetry, or differential thermal analysis, or like infrared spectroscopy. You can see the material or the sample of the size which is required for the analysis. X-ray powder diffraction, scanning electron microscopy, thermogravimetric analysis, dissolution or the solubility analysis. So like generally the methods which are used to ascertain the structure, the amorphous structure or the crystalline structure of the drug substances, we generally use the microscopy, or most widely used methods are differential scanning calorimetry, DSC studies, DTA studies, infrared spectroscopy, X-ray diffraction studies. So they are widely used to understand the chemical and the physical structure of the drug substance. So the takeaway from this, the learning from this session is that the amorphous substances have better solubility and dissolution criterias, but they are not preferred because they are highly unstable. They try to achieve stability over a prolonged period of the time. That is why they are not preferred for the formulation development. Crystalline structure follows a regular repetitive structured format. They have specific melting points and specific boiling points, and the properties they impact are very like melting point, hardness, shape, size, and vapor pressures, etc. So they all together affect a lot of properties. So it is very important to ascertain the amorphous or the crystalline structure of the provided drug substance before going for the formulation studies. And the general method of characterization of amorphous and crystalline structures are microscopy, DSC, infrared spectroscopy, X-ray diffraction method, scanning electron microscopy, TGA, thermogravimetric analysis, which uses the temperature differences. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please do like, share and subscribe to Pharmacypedia for getting further updates. Thank you so much.